Nintendo Switch 2 has had one of the most mixed receptions for a new console launch in all of recent gaming history. I mean, on one hand, there's plenty of people that are enjoying it. I know a lot of my friends are having so much fun with it. On the other hand, there was kind of like a failed boycott for Nintendo, especially when they announced the prices for it. Everyone flipped out, and there were a lot of people calling not to buy it. Lo and behold, everyone bought it anyway, because that's Nintendo proved them right. Today I'm going to go over my thoughts on kind of what I think about the whole situation. Everyone in my friend circle, they know how I feel about it, but I haven't kind of thrown this on YouTube. By the way, if you're new here, hit like and hit subscribe. We're trying to get these videos in the algorithm. I'm trying to do my best, and I'd appreciate all the support that you could throw my way. So, Nintendo Switch 2. I'll start, we'll go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, the good. On one hand, it's a significant upgrade from Nintendo Switch 1. I'm a longtime Nintendo fan. I grew up with again, I was born in 03. Don't murder me. I grew up with the 3DS and the DS and the Wii. That was kind of my childhood, and I love Nintendo. I love their games. I'm a huge Zelda fan. I love Mario. Mario Odyssey was amazing. I played that on Switch, loved it, and I put thousands of hours into my Switch. When they announced Switch 2, I was begging for a Switch Pro for the longest time. I was so excited. I was like, okay, there's a Nintendo Switch 2. I was like, cool, hopefully it's not like a Wii U situation. And then the prices came out, and we'll go over that. But it's a significant upgrade. There's no shying on the fact that if you look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they run significantly better. If you look at the Switch 2 editions for Breath of the Wild, for Tears of the Kingdom, for a lot of the third-party games that they ended up porting, these games run very well for a handheld. It's like a Nintendo-branded Steam Deck, which is awesome. We've been begging for this for so long. And I have the privilege of having a whole friend circle that plays this, so I pick their brain on it. I get to learn as much as on how it is, and it really is a different experience from the Switch 1. So on that end, they did a really good job with the hardware. I might have a controversial opinion for saying this. I don't think 450 is that far-fetched for the system itself. We'll get into that a little bit later. When it comes to the games, when it comes to the actual games that we're looking at, it's I think it's a little lackluster of a launch roster, but on the same coin, there are some hard hitters in there. Mario Kart is kind of like the same thing every year. Not every year, because they do it like once every console launch. But for this console and for Mario Kart World, it looks really good. I've seen gameplay on it. I've watched a lot of people review it. It looks really fun. At the same side of that, Mario Kart is kind of the same thing every game. It's the same formula. You go on tracks, you get items in the boxes. The box items are 80% the same every game. So if you've played one Mario Kart game, it kind of translates to the other. So as awesome as Mario Kart is, for me personally, it's not like a huge system seller. I think it's cool to have. We'll get into the pricing because I got thoughts on that too. But yeah, huge launch title. That was great. And then we have Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I have a whole separate video if you want to watch that. I'll throw in the little eye in the corner. Donkey Kong Bonanza looks so good. It looks like Mario Odyssey 2. It's our sequel. It's our spiritual successor to Mario Odyssey. And I think that is amazing. It's awesome. It's beautiful. We have later launches for the Switch 2 as well. They announced the 007 game for the Switch 2, which everyone was like, okay, that's cool. They threw GameCube games on there, which I'm like, finally? Those games came out like 20 years ago. Like, where have those been? But it's cool that they're adding the legacy content to it. We got Pokemon coming later in the year. That's Pokemon. I'm sure after Donkey Kong launches, we're going to get another first-party game announced. Fun fact, I've heard a lot of people talk about the updates they made with Scarlet and Violet being worth a whole playthrough in of itself, because if you don't know, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were played like trash when they came out. They were so bad. But there was a good game that ran like dog shit. It was so bad the way it ran. But they fixed all the performance issues on Switch 2, and it actually is really a fun experience from what I've been seeing people say about it. And watching gameplay on it, it looks like a better experience. And I know at some point I 100% want to play it on Switch 2, right? So there's a lot of good to be had there. The Switch 1 games are better. The Switch 2 games are also really good. This is a significant upgrade. The hardware feels better from what we see. It just is, there's a lot of good to it. So that way the Nintendo fans don't kill me for what I'm about to say next. Because wherever there's good, there is some bad. And we're going to cover that, right? $80 for Mario Kart. It's the elephant in the room. There's no justifying it. It's bad. It's bad. There's no reason Nintendo had to up the price to 80. 70 is like, okay, it's the gaming industry, right? We're not happy about it that we're paying more and more for video games, but the developers put a lot of work into it. Again, and if these games are worth $70, because again, I don't think that all these games that are launching at $70 are actually worth $70, but whatever. The developers put a lot of effort into it. We should pay them for their work. $80 is just Nintendo saying, we know Mario Kart is going to sell well, and we know you're going to buy it, so we're going to add an extra $10, so over the lifetime of sales, we'll make a lot more money, which I think is kind of scummy. It's anti-consumer. Like, there's no defending that. And I've seen a lot of people say, like, well, if you adjust for inflation, it's actually not that bad compared to, like, when the N64 came out, which, you know, is fair enough on one side of the coin. But at the same time, we just got up to 70. Nintendo just experimented with this with Tears of the Kingdom like 2 years ago. And we're already upping it to 80? Nintendo's opening the floodgates for everyone else to do the same. And now, because of that, the inflation of video game prices is going to happen a lot sooner. And I don't think that's good for anyone, because the main reason I didn't get a Switch 2 was, number one, because I didn't think that was cool. But on the other hand, it's expensive. It's not cheap. And I'm just like a normal ass person. I can't just throw away, because it's not only $450 for the console, it's an extra $80 for the game that you get on it, or $70 depending on the game. And then if you want to get the Pro Controller, it's another like $80 or $90. If you want to get any accessories for it, like the camera, like you're dropping like $600-700 on this thing. If you want to get a case, you're not spending $450. You're spending like $600 or $700. For me right now, that doesn't make sense for me financially to do that. So that's why I skipped out on it. It looks cool. The Switch 2 looks awesome. I'd love to be able to upgrade. And then we have the other thing about the Switch 2, right? So we have the prices. Again, $450. I know I mentioned this earlier. I don't think $450 is that bad, especially with what we're getting. It's on the upper end of what I'd like to be paying. I think it should have sat around $400. Even PlayStation and Xbox, they sell their systems at a deficit because they know that their hardware is going to make up for it, which is a good thing to do for consumers. It's very pro-consumer, which, okay, I can see that. But Nintendo's like, we're going to tax the system and we're going to tax the games, which is like, come on, dude. Like, tell us you like money. Tell us you're Mr. Krabs, and you open the Krusty Krab too because you want money. That's what it is. But okay, $450 for what you're getting, I can see it. I think it should have been $400, but I think $500 for the system alone, that would have been a little like. But with Mario, everyone's like, okay, well, Mario Kart's not $80 if you get the bundle. It's not $80 if you get the bundle. It's a very smart business decision for them to package that in and make it, okay, it's a $50 more if you do it. Speaking of packaging things in, let's talk about Switch 2 Welcome Tour. So everyone was talking about this when the Switch 2 got announced. Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Switch 2 Welcome Tour. It's paid. It's a paid pack-in. Yeah, I ain't got much else to add on that. It's a paid pack-in. It shouldn't be $10. Come on, dude. It's literally called Switch 2 Welcome Tour. It's a tutorial. It's a gamified manual. Like, how cool, like, if you look at, people keep talking about Astro Playroom, or if you go to the Oculus, like, they have the Oculus, like, imagine if you bought an Oculus, you know that little startup game they have on the Oculus, where you can, like, play around with blocks and shit for, like, an hour or two? Imagine if they charge $15 for that. God, wouldn't that suck? You'd be like, fuck that, I'll just get, like, another $15 game, right? And now they're doing that on Switch 2, and it's like, why would I spend $10 on that when I can just buy a game for $10? That's not from Nintendo, like a third-party game. Why wouldn't I just do that? And I just don't think it makes sense. I've watched people play it, and this is my take. Again, if you like Switch 2 Welcome Tour, that's cool. Cool. Like, I got no hate on you. If you bought a Switch and you're loving it, and you spent $80 on Mario Kart and you're loving it, cool. I got no hate on you. Switch 2 Welcome Door does not look fun. It does not look fun. They look like really like novelty mini games where it's like cool for a few minutes and then you're like, okay, this is getting kind of boring, and there's a lot of reading. Like, you're paying Nintendo for them to tell you how to use their console. Like, what? Like, just give us a manual. You know, that's just how I feel about it. But again, if you like it, cool. So the good, the bad, the ugly, where does the boycott, right? So everyone was calling for not getting the Switch 2. Yeah, let's not get the Switch 2. You know, Nintendo's being greedy. Let's not. And then they turn around and bought it anyway. They were like, don't get the Switch 2, guys, but I'm going to get it because I can tax write it off, but you shouldn't get it. It's like, what? Like, pick a lane, gamers. Like, are we going to boycott this thing or not, right? I was like, okay, when I heard people were like not going to buy it, I was like, okay, let me do it. You know, I don't believe in $80 Mario Kart. I don't. I think the game looks good. I think Switch 2 looks good. I think it looks pretty appealing. But $80 for mine? No, count me out, right? So I skipped out the launch, and then everyone bought it. I was like, damn. I thought this was going to backfire on Nintendo. Look, I was like, okay, this is going to backfire. Nintendo's going to make it like, you know, they're gonna lose sales over it. But no, it worked like a charm for them. Honestly, I can't even get mad. I'm like, that was smart of them. They were smart. Also, another thing that we figured out a few days after the Switch 2 came out is the Joy-Con drift isn't fixed. You know that thing that all of you who have owned a Switch, you know what I'm talking about, where your Joy-Cons just, you know, get fucked after like 2 years of owning them? Yeah, that's a problem on these. And the reason we know that it's a problem is because the way that they made these joysticks with the sensors and the plastic is the same exact way that they made them on the Switch 1 when they first came out. And the crazy thing is they fixed it. On the Zelda edition, the 2021 Zelda edition Joy-Cons, they put like a little foam piece under it. I'll put up a picture on screen. And they knew how to fix it by just a simple fix, or like even putting different, more expensive sticks at. Like, the Switch 2 Joy-Cons are already expensive. You might as well just make them not drift. But they left them knowing they would have drift. Like, this is an issue Nintendo knows about, and they made these things prone to drift. Like, what the heck? Why? Why would you do this? But I'm guessing it's because people have to buy more sticks. I just always I swapped my sticks whenever they drifted. So I have like 6 pairs of Joy-Cons just for funsies. Yeah. Switch 2 is interesting in that regard. Speaking of interesting, why don't we have themes? Like, it's been almost like, it's been so many years since we've had a console since that's had themes. It's been 7 years since the Switch, 8 years since the Switch came out, and we still don't have themes. They used an OLED, or they didn't use they used an LCD screen instead of an OLED screen. And it's like, why? They already did the OLED thing. Why are you going to go back to LCD so now you have to re-release an OLED model? It just doesn't make sense. And the big thing that everyone's been talking about, okay, terms of service and bricking your Switch. Yeah, that's a doozy, right? So I think personally that the whole bricking the Switch thing is probably blown a little bit out of proportion. Nintendo basically is just saying, if you hack your Switch 2, we're going to ban you. It's a fair warning, right? On one side, why, it's my property. Why are you gonna tell me what I can and can't do with my thing? I bought it. I gave you 500 bones so I can own this thing, and now you're gonna ban it from the internet. I don't think they're really gonna brick your Switch unless you're like using it illegal for like you know, facilitating a piracy company or something huge. I think the fact that they have the right to is kind of effed up. But I think they're more likely than they're not. From what I know, they're probably just going to throw out bans to people that mod their Switch. There's something called like a MIG switch that's going around where people, like, you know, it's like a game card that loads other game cards, and some people use it for piracy because you can rip the ROMs off yourself or you can download them from the internet. So Nintendo just has been banning consoles that have used the MIG switch. I still think it's like, why? They're going through the extra, I get it, they're trying to prevent piracy and stuff like that, but like, it just seems like they don't want people to do anything that Nintendo hasn't stamped authorized to do, which feels very corporate. doesn't feel very Nintendo or very fun. You know, I mean, I guess it's on brand for Nintendo now, but part of the fun of having a Switch was being able to mod it. I still have a V1, and I've been rocking my V1 since 2017. When I do eventually get a Switch 2, I'm going to mod my V1 because it's really, really easy to mod. But at the same time, like, all this litigation and stuff that they make you agree to in order to use the Switch 2, I do think it's kind of messed up. Like, they shouldn't have the right to just freaking axe your Switch whenever. But I think as long as you don't hack your Switch and you just use it just because, you likely won't have a problem with this. I just think it's kind of a bad precedent to set. Like, I don't think it's anything new for the gaming industry. Other consoles, I'm sure, have done this to some extent. But for the modding community, it sucks. It sucks because there's a lot of potential with the Switch 2, and people love to mod, like the Steam Deck. You can do so much with you. You can throw Linux on your Steam Deck. It just stinks that we're not going to be able to do this with Switch 2. But people mostly buy Switch 2 for Nintendo exclusives. In my opinion, I think if you really need a portable console, the Steam Deck's probably better. It's got a better game library and variety. It's got better customization. It's got better terms of service. Steam is a better platform than like Nintendo's eShop. I think the only thing Nintendo has is it's got a cool gimmick with the detachable Joy-Cons and stuff. But I think the big thing is their Nintendo exclusives, where you can, you know, have your Mario, you can have your Zelda, and that's pretty cool. But Nintendo is going to make you pay an arm and a leg for it, like they always have, especially with the Zelda upgrades. My whole opinion on this whole thing is, and again, this is just how I feel on it, Nintendo's been very anti-consumer. The Switch 2 has been a push in the direction that they've been anti-consumer. I don't like it, but they did release a good product, and you can't deny that. Even though, like, yeah, it's PS4 grade stuff in 2025, it's on a handheld, which, you know, if you're gonna downscale it to that small of a screen, they can get away with that for a little while. It's gonna be underpowered come 7 years from now, but for right now, it'll do fine. I think Nintendo kind of comes in waves, and they have like kind of a pendulum. Like, they have a super success, like, you know, the Wii, or they had the NES. They had the 3DS, which was good. The DS was a super success. The Game Boy was a super success. And then they go to things that aren't as super successful, right? You have the GameCube, which didn't do too well. You had the Wii U, which is the infamous terrible failure, right? You have the first launch of the 3DS, which also failed when it first came out. Even the GBA, I think it was the GBA SP or the Game Boy Advance, I forget, one of the Game Boys didn't do too well when it came out. I think that when Nintendo struggles, they get more creative and they start, you know, doing more unique and fun things. I think under Satoru Iwata, who was their previous president, Nintendo had a lot more soul, and Reggie, I think, definitely helped with a lot of that. I think it's going to come and go in a wave. I think the Switch 2 has started strong, but we're going to have to see throughout its life if this momentum holds up. My prediction before the Switch 2 came out was that this thing would sell 40 million units over its lifetime. It might be a stupid prediction, I know, don't come at me in the comments, but that's just because I don't know if this momentum that they have off the start is going to keep up, because they're going to have to sell parents on this, because, you know, parents are going to be like, but Timmy, we have a Switch at home. Like, we don't need a Switch 2, you know? Which is kind of what happened with Wii U. But we'll see. Only time will tell. I think Nintendo kind of needs to get hit in the kneecaps a little bit before they're like, oh, okay, let's be nicer to our consumers. But that's just how I feel about it. I think they should be nicer to us, and they shouldn't price things at $80, and they shouldn't be like, yeah, we'll brick your console if you do anything we don't like. It's a little bit more anxiety inducing for the consumer, and that's the last thing you want. But again, that's just how I feel about it. I don't hate the Switch 2. I don't hate people that buy the Switch 2. It just is what it is. But let me know what you think about it. If you bought a Switch 2, tell me how it is, because I am a Switch 1 owner who would love to play a Switch 2, but I can't afford to get one, so I'm just watching everyone else play it. But yeah, I appreciate you sticking around and watching. I have plenty of other videos that are just like this, where I grab a mic and I talk. That's my new style of content. So if you like this, hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Hit a thumbs up, because I love when these go in the algorithm. If you're hitting thumbs down, please let me know why, because people like to do that, like the thumbs down and leave, and I don't know why, and it makes me sad, and I'm just trying to grow this channel, so please feed my family. I'm just fucking with you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and click on one of these videos on the screen, and I will see you later. Bye bye. Where the frick is the stop button?